Hi all, welcome to Easy Learning Tech. In our previous video, we have covered few topics related to definition of testing and what to test nowadays in application. So today we are going to discuss what are the roles and responsibilities of a tester, difference between manual and automation testing, and what are the software testing principles. So without delay, let's start. Coming to first topic, what are the roles and responsibilities of a tester? This question will come in two ways for both freshers and experienced. For freshers, they will ask directly what are the roles and responsibilities of a tester. For an experienced person, they will ask, tell me your roles and responsibilities in your current organization. Now we will see what are those. And the concept which we are going to discuss now will be applicable for both freshers and experienced. For experienced people, we need to cover in detailed view of the project what you have covered day-to-day activities in your organization. So that one we will be going to see in upcoming video. So now going back to what are the roles and responsibilities, we will see one by one. First one, understand the project. If anyone who is assigned to particular project, first their main motto is to understand the project, like what we need to test, why we need to test, and what is the importance of application to the end users. Then it will be easy to test each and every module, and it will be also helpful in your current project why we are testing. Second one, ad hoc testing. Ad hoc testing means informal testing. Like when we don't have time to prepare documentation, then we will execute all the test cases without following any proper format. That is nothing but ad hoc testing. Third one, formal testing. Formal testing means if we are having the time and if we are following any proper format, we need to implement the test cases and then only we can execute those test cases. In formal testing, if we are not writing the test cases or if we are not following any format, then the testing process won't happen. That is nothing but formal testing. Here, execution means the flow. Like if we want to log in to the Gmail application with current username and password and click on login button, the Gmail application should be open to the home page. That is nothing but execution. Means we are following one flow. Means we are working on the functionality, that is nothing but execution. Means we are running that. Okay. Next one, finding defects and reporting to developers. So once we completed the testing, we will find the defects and those defects should report to the developers. Next one, regression testing. This one we will see in detail in upcoming video because this is very very important. We need to understand the exact meaning of regression testing. Next one, develop automation scripts. So if you are an automation tester or if you want to switch your career into automation, first, we need to develop automation scripts. Means in manual testing, we will write the test cases. In the same way, in automation, we will develop the automation scripts. Means we will develop automation test cases. After developing the automation scripts, we need to execute the automation scripts. Means we need to execute the test cases. Executing the automation test cases. So after that, we will prepare the test case reports. Test case reports in the sense we will prepare one complete document like how many test cases are there and how many test cases are passed, how many test cases are failed, and how many test cases are hold. We will see this one also in upcoming video because the test case report is also very very important and we need to know how we need to prepare the test case report because in day to day activities by the end of the day, so we need to send the mail to the team lead or manager like whatever we worked from that day. Means whatever we worked on that day, we need to prepare one report and we need to send to the team. This is nothing but test case report. Some companies will follow some sorry, some companies will follow some particular formats, but some companies won't follow any particular formats. Then we can able to create our own test case report. So this one also we will be going to see in upcoming video. So next topic is difference between manual and automation testing. Any testing activity is either functional or load or performance which is carried out with human effort is called manual testing. If any testing activity is either functional or load or performance carried out with the tools like Selenium or QTP or load runner, then it is called automation testing. Here, automation testing is mainly applicable for maintenance project. Means automation testing is mainly applicable for long-term projects. So if we are doing on the long term projects, then people will also work on the automation testing rather than manual testing. Some projects will be working on both manual and automation testing. So which are long term projects. Okay. So next topic is software testing principles, which is very very important. So if we are attending any interview, so we will expect this question will come: what is software testing principles? At least we need to remember, because without knowing this testing principles we cannot able to test, because this is that much important. So now we will see each and every point and each and everything with clear description, with clear understanding. So without delay, let's start. Like, what are software testing principles? Coming to first one, exhaustive testing is impossible. If we test the functionality in all possible ways, that is with all possible inputs and outputs, then it is called exhaustive testing. In simple words, testing everything is called exhaustive testing, which is practically impossible. So, by learning this, like by seeing this, what we can understand means, if we test any of the functionality in all possible ways, means with all possible inputs and outputs, it is called exhaustive testing, which is practically impossible. Like for example, if I want to work on the Gmail application and I want to test the Gmail users which are having like 1 million or 1 trillion users, if I want to test with all those users, it is highly impossible for me to test with all those users. That is nothing but exhaustive testing is impossible. Means I cannot able to test with all possible inputs and outputs. Then how we can test? Means we will see now. That is possible, but that is possible when we cannot able to test like 1 trillion, but that 1 trillion we will reduce to some number which is practically possible. But testing 1 trillion is really practically impossible. So I'm going to take one example and we will see this example. So here, if we test login functionality with all registered users in the database, then it is called exhaustive testing, which is not practically possible, right? If we test the login functionality with one user belongs to each category to check the login functionality, this is enough. So this example I will explain you in detail. First one, ABC123 Ash is an active user. So I assume there are 1 lakh users starting with letter small a, and that too with all combinations like alphabets, special characters, numericals, and everything in that username. So practically, if I want to test those 1 lakh combinations, it cannot be possible. But what can I do means, I will take some few combinations and test the login functionality. If those are working fine means, then remaining also will work. The same way it will applicable for B, C, so on up to Z. Now we will see for the capital letters from A, B, C, so on up to Z. I will take here also the few combinations, and if I test the login functionality. If it is working means then the remaining also will work. The same case if a login with numbers means, if starting anything username starting with numbers, the same way I will applicable, like I will take some few combinations. If it is working means, then the remaining functionality, the remaining combinations also will work. The same way for special characters. So that is the reason they mentioned as practically impossible, means we cannot able to test all the user combinations or each and every user in the testing. Second one, defect clustering. Sometimes a small functionality may produce most of the defects if compared to bigger functionality. So here example I took, like online payment page is a small functionality than customer registration page. In customer registration page, we will have many fields like first name, last name, gender, address, date of birth, email, password, documents required, so on. But here the logic is not complex, because if you did not enter any of the field like mandatory field, it will display the error message. If we entered all the mandatory fields, it won't display any error message, means if we did not find any issues, like after submitting the details, then new user ID got created. So that is nothing but the customer registration page. But we can see the customer registration page, like so many columns we need to fill. But we will think maybe the logic is very complex, but actual the logic is not complex. Whereas coming to online payment page, so I will take an example of Google Pay. Like we need to enter the phone number and the amount which we need to transfer to that particular person. Okay. So this number should have the Google Pay app, and also it should connect it to that particular bank. Okay. So if both are fine means, then only the money will be going to transfer to that particular person. So here we will enter only number, means we will type the number and we will just transfer the money, means we are entering only the money. If the contact is saved to in your phone means, then we just open the contact and we will make sure that whatever the amount we need to transfer, we will just click by, and then we will enter OTP, or we will enter our pin. After entering the pin, then the amount will be going to detect it. So that is only very small task, but here the logic is very complex. So what here we need to know is, like in defect clustering means, we should not assume the logics by seeing the page size. We need to assume the logics how critical it is. Means, for example, in the customer registration page there are so many columns, or we are entering so many fields. So we will think that okay, this is more complex page. Or we are entering when we are going to online payment page, we are entering only the amount, so we are only entering amount, and we are entering our pin, and the amount will be going to detect, means it is not less complex, it is more complex. So we should not assume the logics by seeing the page size. So this is the main motto of defect clustering. Okay. Coming to next one, pesticide paradox. This one is very easy, because if prepared test cases is not able to find the defects, then add few more test cases. Or if required, we need to modify the existing test cases for better testing. For example, if I created 100 test cases and I execute the 100 test cases, I am not seeing any defects. So then we need to add some 5 more test cases or 10 more test cases in order to get the defects. Or if I don't want to write those 100 test cases, maybe I can modify to 50 test cases. But then we need to make sure that in those 50 test cases, we need to get the defects. It's nothing but pesticide paradox, means we need to add more and more test cases until we will find the defects. Next one, early testing. Conducting testing as early as possible in the developing life cycle, that is called early testing. Means testing from the beginning, that is from the requirements, that is called early testing. Early testing helps us to find the defects at early stages, which in turns the cost of fixing defects. Here, early testing we will discuss in SDLC, where the requirements, concepts, and all we will see, and also the cost of fixing defects is one more concept. In that, we will see with the detailed explanation. But here, early testing is nothing but we need to test from the requirements stage. That is nothing but the early test. Next one, testing should show presence of defects. Why we are testing means our main motto is we need to show the defects, means we need to show the presence of defects. See here, always testing should perform with an intention of finding defects. Try to prove the system is not is doing what it is not supposed to do. That is negative testing is very good to find the defects. So that is why we are testing, right? Means we are testing because we need to find the defects, means we are trying to prove what the system should not do. So that is our main motto. Okay, so next one, absence of defect is a fallacy. So here what he's saying is like developing a software, testing a software, finding defects, resolving the defects is no use if the developed software is not meeting the user requirements. See, for example, if WhatsApp is an application, right? So the WhatsApp is completed, like WhatsApp functionality we tested and everything, we did not find any issues. So what they are saying is, if we developed a software and testing, and we tested the software also, and we find the defects also, and we resolve the defects also, is no use. Even if we got the defects and even if we resolve the defects, is no use if the developed software is not meeting the user requirement. This user requirement means, see, as a testers, we always make sure that we are meeting the user requirements. Because if we are not meeting the user requirements or customer requirements and following this cycle is no use. When we are meeting the user requirements and when we are having the strong requirements or user requirements, then only our product have some value. Otherwise there is no use of developing a product or developing a software. Okay, so next one, testing is application dependent or situation dependent. Yes, testing is both application dependent and situation dependent, because the application may be vary from project to project, because some people will work on web application and some people will work on desktop application, so on, right? See here, example is testing Windows calculator application is different from testing online shopping application, obviously, right? Because calculator is a desktop application where load performance is not required, but whereas online shopping application is a web application where the load testing, performance testing are mandatory. So it varies from project to project. So no one, everyone or no one will do the same testing. So if one person is doing selenium testing in web application, means the other person will also not will also do the same selenium, means there is no 100% chance, because maybe they will follow some other testing tools, like they will use maybe qtp, something like that. So it will vary from project to project. And next one is testing is situation dependent, like if we are having sufficient time, means if we are having enough time, then we will go for formal testing, means we will write the test cases and we will execute or we will prepare some document. Otherwise if we are not having time, then we will go for ad hoc testing, means informal testing, and we will directly execute as per our testing standard or as per our testing format, because we don't need to follow any testing format. Then we will go for ad hoc testing, like we will test end to end application, we will not follow any format or any documentation. Okay, that is nothing but ad hoc testing. So if sufficient time available, we will go for normal testing. If no time, we will go for priority based testing. We will see this one also in upcoming video, what is priority based testing. Okay, so these are 7 testing principles which we discussed. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Comment me for manual testing material which I have designed with easy way of explanation for all the concepts. Thank you.